You're listening to Civic Media. You can tune into any of our live shows on any radio station across the state with the Civic Media app. Find us in your phone's app store and listen anytime, anywhere.
Good morning and welcome to Matt and Air on Air. Jane Matt and Air, Greg Bach, and Calvin Butonoff coming to you live from our home here at Radio Park in Racine. You can always join us, call or text. The number is the same, 855-752-4842. You can leave a comment if you're watching on the live stream on Facebook, YouTube, and what used to be Twitter. Coming up at the very end of the show, around 10:51-ish. We'll wrap it up with This Shouldn't Be a Thing. Today it's the Here Kitty Kitty edition. I would encourage you to stick around for that for a few laughs. Tisbet, as we call it.
Yes,
Wrapping
indeed.
up the show. This Shouldn't Be a Thing. Coming up around 10:51. Happy to be joined by our friend Corinne Hendrickson. Has been our guest many times over the past few months, particularly as we talk about childcare issues in Wisconsin. You were a childcare provider for a long time, Corinne, and good morning, first of all, and now you have to make a change.
Yeah, good morning. Are you able to hear me, or did I just get weird?
No, well, you're good. You're good.
We're good? Okay. So, all right. So, yeah, my oldest son is actually going to college. So I'm on the Memorial Union Terrace while he signs up for his classes. And, yeah, I will be closing my business August 29th because there just wasn't enough funding in the state budget for me to continue staying open without outpricing my parents. And at the end of the day, after 18 years, I finally am realizing I need to put my family and myself first too. And I have to be able to, know that I will be okay. And if I would have tried to struggle like I did last year, the open spots right now was not getting them filled, and it was end of September before they were filled, and I struggled with wondering, what do I do? How do I stay open, and where do these kids go? So this summer, as I was watching the budget proceed and realized we're probably not going to get what I need in order to stay open and affordable, I started talking with my colleague, Brooke Legler, who has a group center, to see if she would have a couple spots for the children I have left to take in September, because that's how childcare works.
Right.
We rotate our kids in September because that's when they go to school. And so, yes, she would be able to get them in. So I'm at peace with how I'm closing, but I'm very upset and, angry. I mean, to be honest, I'm angry that I'm closing in this way because I was not ready to close my business.
Well, and you've been doing this for 18 years, and we've talked about this many times before, Corinne. You weren't doing this because you were making just scads and scads of money, and you have a second home in Vienna or wherever. You were doing this because you like children, and you believe in preparing kids to go to school, and that is not just babysitting. What you do and what so many of our childcare providers do is really set them up to learn and teach them how to learn. So
Yeah.
I think still,
Yes. And
I think there's a lot of misconceptions about what our childcare providers do.
oh, yes, absolutely. All the hours and all the trainings, all the courses, all of, I am passionate about inclusion of children with disabilities and making sure that they have places to go. I've had over 15 children who have had special needs, as small as speech and as large as autism. And, really taking the time to learn about those kids and how to meet their needs, and also really work with their parents to first take away the stigma that it's not anything they did wrong as a parent, that their child needs extra support,
Right.
but then give them help and support and how to access that. And that's a lot of what I do too, is teach parents how to be better parents and how to navigate parenthood, and just, prepare these kids to be good humans. And not only do I have kids up to the age of 5, but in the summertime and after school, I get my alumni, I call them, they come back. And so, I have had kids now this summer, an 11-year-old, she's been with me since she was born. And, it's wonderful that I get to get her back in the summertime and, continue that care and education that they need when there's no school available.
Right.
And I think that's the biggest piece we're missing is school is one thing, preschool, keep pushing down, fine, whatever. But what do those parents do outside of those hours? They rely on childcare and high quality environments for their kids to learn. And schools rely on us to exist so that those kids are in good places during the summer and before and after school. And, it's a vicious cycle that we are perpetuating for absolutely no reason.
Corinne, for people who don't know, and we're watching the budget talks and the signings that happen, some of them might be saying, well, there was money put into the childcare funding and you guys got money. Why are you closing? What's the problem? Can you explain to them the truth behind the funding that you were going to be getting through the budget that was signed a couple weeks ago by Governor Evers?
Yep, absolutely. So yes, $360 million was allocated to childcare. $1 billion was closer to the number that we were asking for total. And so we got about a third. $480 million separately was for direct state investment to get us back to the monthly payments we were receiving in 2021 and 2022. And how much has inflation gone up since then? Let's be honest. Like, that's not even what we needed. And so of the $480 million direct that goes to 4,700 regulated programs, about 200,000 children and 30,000 teachers and employees, we got $110 million for 11 months. When you break that down with those massive numbers, you understand it's tiny and it's not, nearly what we need in order to keep teachers in place. And one of the things that I did notice that was in the budget was Senator Markline earmarked, $2 million was earmarked for Senator Markline's district. I don't know if he did it, for Southwest Hospital, for a grant, which they already had matching funds in order to build a childcare center at the new hospital. Well, I've talked to some of the providers in that area. They have empty classrooms and they're terrified their teachers are going to go now work at this hospital because the company that is going to run it is out of Minnesota, has over 100 programs. They can offer a little bit more money. So they're going to take those teachers from those small locally owned businesses and they're going to hire them because they're qualified and can pay more. And then those programs are probably going to close because they can't then hire new teachers. And so, yes, the idea is to open new programs because ideally you'll get more spots. But if you don't have teachers, it doesn't matter. We have 33,000 empty seats sitting right now in programs. I don't know of a single group center that does not have empty spots because they don't have enough teachers. And so by adding to it adds to the problem, it doesn't take away, and you end up actually making fewer slots overall because of the closures.
Yep. Just for to clarify for folks who are listening, you're not talking about open spots for kids. We're talking about needed childcare teachers. That's what we need.
Open spots for children because there's no teachers to be there for the kids. So these programs have, like Brooke in my community she could have 60 more children in her program, but she doesn't have the teachers for those kids. And there's kids on that wait list. And so the problem is the teachers and being able to afford to pay the teachers, but parents can't pay enough for us to pay ourselves or teachers.
Well, and it goes back to, another Republican fix for this was, let's just lower the age of teachers and let's lower the qualifications for teachers. Let's just bring in some 15-year-olds and that's going to replace someone who has been educated in child development and all of those things. There's the fix. That's not a fix.
No, not at all. And especially when I have kids in my program that are exhibiting some behaviors like biting. I have a hard time talking to those parents about why the child is getting bit and why the child is biting and how to support that and how to move through it because it's a developmental stage. I don't know how a 16-year-old is going to have that conversation with a parent. That's not going to happen. No. That 16-year-old is going to be blamed. Those parents are going to be mad. And I really would want to make sure that there's a requirement if we have if we have children watching children in our programs, that there needs to be parents signing off, understanding that that's who is in that classroom at that time. And another thing is a lot of insurance companies aren't going to allow it. So these solutions are things that we're not even going to be able to access, or they tell us it's a choice. Well, I'm sorry, it might be a choice, but I might starve to death and you might offer me moldy food and I'm choosing to starve. But at the same time, it's not a choice.
It's not a choice.
It doesn't have to be this way.
If you're just joining us, we are talking to Corrine Hendrickson, who is a family child care provider. Had to make the very difficult decision to close her business. Announced it last week on Pat Kreitlow's show about it. And Corrine, one of the things that I guess because I don't work in Madison and I don't work in this industry, I guess the question I have for you is the responses you may have gotten from those who didn't want to give you the money. They gave you these official fixes, and when I say fixes, I mean in heavy quotations. But it just, I guess to me, the question I have for you is why wouldn't they just say, yes, here is more money to educate our children? It seems, it's short-sighted is a nice way of putting it, but it seems like deliberate and just mean-spirited to say, well, we're not going to give you the money and you have to deal with it. And if you can't, then, well, that's the free market.
Yeah, I wish I knew, because they refuse to tell us why. They refuse to say why they do not want to invest. And so I can infer it's because they want women to stay home. I can infer that it's because they don't think our children are worth a penny. I can infer a lot of different things. I can, think that they think 16-year-old and more children is the answer, because they're looking at children as a mathematical equation and not as human beings, and that we're taking away their ability to thrive. We are going to put them on the path to go to prison, which, hey, by the way, you get $1 million for a child to incarcerate them per year. So for the low price of 480 incarcerated children, we could support our entire child care system.
And I want to touch on that moment, that point of young people teaching. And it was either you or Trisha Peterson who spoke about it. And I'm going to phrase this cautiously. There's nothing wrong with younger people teaching children, because you have programs which will basically be like apprentice programs where they can learn. They're paired with an adult teacher, someone who has experience, and that type of program, as someone who was an apprentice, seems like a great thing to fund, to take those 16-year-olds that you say, yeah, you can teach, but let's make it so over the next 5 years you're going to learn all those skills, and then when you're 20 something, you're certified, you're ready, you can open your own business or whatever. But I mean, there is the kernel of truth that 16-year-olds working in this job isn't a bad thing if they have the supervision, the oversight,
the mentorship,
and the desire to do it. It can't also just be like, hey, do you want to babysit this summer? And they're actually teaching kids.
Yeah, and I agree with you wholeheartedly. Minnesota actually is doing a mentorship program where the the students, adults also, are able to access the classes for free, and then the mentor gets paid by the state to do the mentoring.
Yep.
And then the mentee gets paid by the state to learn. And so it's not overhead cost on us as the child care owners to do that. And yes, like I would love to apprentice, a 16, 17-year-old in my program where I can teach them and I can watch them and observe them and give them positive feedback and let them open their own family childcare when they're, mid-20s. That'd be fabulous. Yep. But the way we're doing it right now is we're throwing these children to the wolves, and they're going to run away screaming and not even want children by the time they're done with this experience.
Corrine, this could all be fixed if women like you would just do it for nothing. That'd just be such an easy fix if women just dropped out of the workforce and did labor for free. I think that's the answer.
I'm going to say nothing right now.
Ron Johnson has told me that to my face.
Oh, God.
That you should do it for free?
Yeah.
Seriously.
In his office. Yes, in his office a few years ago when I was in DC, he literally said, wouldn't an elegant solution be for moms like you to watch other people's children while they work? And I was like, for free? And he did not respond to that. And so that answer was a yes.
Well, I got to digest that for just a minute.
I'm never going to forget that.
And we're going to continue our conversation with Corrine Hendrickson when I recover. You're listening to Matt and Air on Air. This is the Civic Media Radio Network. Stay close.
You're listening to Civic Media. Stay up to date on the latest news and information for your local community and Wisconsin by signing up for our free email newsletter. Visit civicmedia.us/email to get started.
Good morning and welcome back to Matt and Air on Air. Jane Matt and Air, Greg Bach, Calvitini on the board, coming to you from our studio at Radio Park in Racine, where you can join us. Call or text. The number is the same at 855-752-4842. Leave a comment if you're watching on the live stream on Facebook, YouTube, and what used to be Twitter. Coming up after the 10:30 news, we will lighten it up as we always do with the segment we call Audio Sorbet. Calvin? Kind of hanging out here waiting for the sorbet. Harp's audio sorbet after 10:30 will be, do you subtitle or dubs? Do you read subtitles when you're watching television or a movie, or do you do the dub route? That is our groundbreaking conversation we'll have after 10:30, and then we'll wrap it up as we always do with This Shouldn't Be a Thing. Today it's the Here Kitty Kitty edition. Right now, Corrine Hendrickson is our guest, 18-year child care provider in Wisconsin, and now is going to be closing, sadly, at the end of August because the budget agreement that was reached here in Wisconsin is not doing enough for our child care providers. And right before we had to take a pause, you mentioned a conversation with Ron Johnson, Corrine, that I don't know that Greg and I have ever heard this before.
I've never heard this.
I think let's go back to that conversation you had with Wisconsin Senior Senator Ron Johnson about the need for child care in Wisconsin. How did that go?
So yeah, I was there with Main Street Alliance. There were several of us talking about small businesses and the need for investment in things that would support small businesses, including childcare. And he called me healthcare about 3 times also, and I kept correcting him and saying, "No, I run a childcare." And then he, I said, "Why don't you think we should fund?" And he goes, "I think an elegant solution it would be for moms like you to stay home, and so the other moms can go to work at their whatever, maybe more important jobs, I don't know, so that they can go to work and then you can keep their kids." And I said, "Well, and I shouldn't get paid for that?" And he just kind of looked at me and tried to change the subject really quickly. And Sean actually then said, "You don't think that people like her should be able to run their small business and get paid?" And he just kind of stared at us. And I said, "That tells me all I need to know." And then the conversation moved on. It was a group of men and women, and with the women, he was very much in our faces. And then when the men talked, he was very laid back.
No.
So the group of us tried really hard. Like the guys in there were very supportive. And so they would try in their way to kind of like say what they could to bring the conversation back around and talk about how, as restaurant owners, they needed childcare for their employees and things like that. And it was a 101 in what is wrong with our elected officials, honestly.
Okay. Where do I start? First of all, an elegant solution. That was him trying to be fun or
yes,
whatever.
Lighthearted.
And once again, missing the mark as he always does, as he needs a sense of humor and human emotions to do that. But also, do you think there is a business person on earth who would walk into his office who would say, "I'm struggling, I need help. Like I manufacture a widget that, steals something for cars." Do you think he would dare have the notion to say, "Well, if you just did it for free, why don't you just do it for free? Then you should be fine." What's wrong with just doing your job for free? Then you don't have to worry about it.
Why didn't he tell the restaurant owners to get servers who will just do it for nothing? Then that's our answer. That's our answer for everything? Is we need more people doing jobs who don't get paid. That's the fix.
It kind of is how.
That's the
It's
fix.
kind of how things work. That's kind of how things work. We exploit people for the lowest amount possible.
Yeah. Oh,
so they can get richer. It is what it is. They just don't say it so blatantly obvious. And I do think it's because women in general, our entire system of childcare is built on the backs of women with young children who quit their jobs, who cannot find care, who open their own family childcares or go work in a group center so that their kids can be around other kids and they can bring in a tiny amount of salary. That is what our entire system has been built on historically. And it has worked in the past because enough of us are willing to do it. Well, we're no longer willing to do it. And also, any job pays way more than what we get paid. And so there's not people that are, I guess, desperate enough to have some income and do this high intense job that is mentally, physically exhausting and draining, but yet at the same time, so wonderful and fulfilling at the same time. And that's kind of what keeps us going. And that's why we're in this weird space.
Yeah.
And that's why the system keeps perpetuating upon itself. And we need to get elected reps at the state and federal level who absolutely understand that childcare is education for our children. It is workforce development. It is criminal, gets rid of crime, reduces healthcare costs. It is the linchpin of our entire society. And if we care about kids, we need to take care of them from the beginning and their families and the communities that support them.
I feel like the bar is set really low at this point where I would just like to have a representative who understands the difference between a healthcare provider and a childcare provider. Let's just start there.
Well, if you would like to call Ron Johnson and point out the distinction between healthcare and childcare, there's an easy way for you to get a hold of him.
Very easy.
Go to myvote.wi.gov and let Senator Ron Johnson know how you feel about his idea that the elegant solution to our childcare problem is just for women to drop out of the workforce and watch everybody else's kids for free. I think I might call. myvote.wi.gov. rojo.wi.gov. Let RoJo know what you think about him in the nicest way
Hashtag
possible.
Hashtag let RoJo know.
Let RoJo know. Corrine Hendrickson, thank you so very much for making time out with us. We will continue our conversations with you and love to see politics. I don't know. Maybe think about it.
We'll see.
We'll see.
It might be coming.
Corrine Hendrickson, thank you so very much. Take care. We'll talk to you soon. We have
You're welcome.
news.
I will have lots of time.
Yeah.
Great. We have news coming up next, and then we'll come back with audio sorbet. Stay close. You are listening to Matt Nair on Air, myvote.wi.gov, on the Civic Media Radio Network. Good morning. Welcome back to Matt Nair on Air. Jane Matt Nair, Greg Bach, and the Board Lord coming to you from our studio at Radio Park in Racine, where you can join us. Call or text. The number is the same at 855-752-4842. You can also leave a comment if you're watching on the live stream on Facebook, YouTube, and what used to be Twitter, and if you have the Civic Media app, which you should.
You should.
Because we're doing free ticket Fridays all summer long, where you have a chance to pick up a 4-pack of Milwaukee Brewers Club level tickets. I understand the crew is hot right now.
Oh, the crew is so hot, 11 wins in a row. We are
Smoking
officially
hot.
in first place by, I believe, a half a game or
very
one full
exciting.
game. I am very, very excited. And and the Blue Jays, too. They're on an 11-game winning streak as well. But right now, we are officially, the Milwaukee Brewers are officially one game ahead of the Chicago Cubs. In first place in the NL Central. And I will say this, we have a better record than almost every single team in every division in first place, except for the Detroit Lions, which, by the way, I'm always happy when Detroit's winning. Yeah. But yeah, it's but I'm doing that thing, Jane, where I'm saying, like, you know what? If they lose the 12th one, it's okay. It was a good run. It's fine.
You boys did a good job.
But all I'm going to ask, the final question I ask, George Webb's, is the offer still open? That's a very old reference.
It is.
Was it? I think it was 12 in a row. I think they won.
It was 12.
And George West gave free hamburgers out. I got some of those.
We'll check on that.
Yeah.
We'll check on that. But yes, you want to have the Civic Media app is the whole point.
Yeah.
Because that's the way you can enter for the Free Ticket Fridays contest.
Mm-hmm.
And also a new feature on the app now is the voice note.
Yes.
So you can actually record a message to us and text it in.
Yes.
And we can listen to it.
Yeah, whether
and
you
play it.
Whether you like us or not.
We clean it up for language.
Oh, yeah.
We do clean it up for language, but yes. So today, for Audio Sorbet, which is where we are right now, this is the portion of the program where we like to lighten things up, take a breath, get away from the news, have a couple laughs. Audio Sorbet for today is subtitles or dubs. When you are watching a movie or anything, actually, if it's a dubbed film, will you watch the dub or do you bring up the subtitles? Closed captioning, as it were. 855-752-4842. 855-75-CIVIC.
Yeah.
Dubs?
Wow,
Or closed caption with a
should
long
have,
pause.
we should have had dramatic music there. Wow, that was amazing. I'm like, what happened? Did news just break? Did something?
No, and we had a text from earlier that I wanted to share from Isaac, who texted in early in the show from Baraboo. He says, this is for the Audio Sorbet. This is Isaac. I usually turn on subtitles no matter what show or movie I'm watching. Thank you, Isaac.
So Calvin brought this one up because there are shows on Netflix that are in other languages, and Netflix. I mean, they're not the only one, but there are a lot of shows I feel like on Netflix that have just their base option is just dubbing. You don't even have to choose it; it's dubbed into a language. I think the one I'm thinking of is Money Heist. It's dubbed from a different language into English, and for me personally, dubbing is off-putting.
Yes.
I can't watch it because I'll see their faces and their mouths won't match the words. And it's like when you watch shows on television and the audio isn't quite in sync with the video and it ruins your life.
Well, it's hard to stay up with the plot when you're so distracted by that half a second, right?
Yep.
half a second delay, a half a second that's off with the lips and the sound and all that stuff. And that's all I can think about then when I'm watching that movie is, oh, you were so close on dubbing that, but that didn't work.
Yeah. I think that I'll watch movies dubbed, especially like, movies from Hong Kong or from China or Japan. I think that my brain has negotiated the differences, but when it's just, I can't do dubbing. It just throws me way off. I have to do subtitles. That's how and to be perfectly honest, subtitles are how I watch shows in English too.
Thank you.
No.
It's not just me.
Oh, it certainly is not you.
I think my whole closed captioning thing started with the final season of Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Because not only was it so dark, you could barely see anything, I couldn't hear anything. So I started putting the closed caption on it so I could at least know what was going on while they were flying around in dragons in the complete dark. But now it's like fight scenes and explosions are so loud compared to the dialogue that now I have closed caption on all the time.
Yeah.
So I don't have to blast people out of the room because if I have it loud enough to hear the dialogue, then when the explosions happen, it's like I'm going to get shot across the room.
And the whole point of this conversation started with do you do subtitles or dubbing? But it immediately morphed into this where we're like watching television and because it's true, when I watch TV, the dialogue will be usually a certain level quieter, and then the action is
so loud,
and the commercials so loud.
My husband says that too.
Calvin, you brought this topic up, and you said that your parents have a very interesting history with this.
This is great.
Yeah, so I mean, in college I watched a lot of anime, Japanese animation, and I was a bit of a snob where I would only. It's a big debate, sub or dub, and
sub or dub.
Sub people are a little snobby, and I tend to fall in that category because the dubs are a lot of times annoying, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But yeah, my parents, I think it started with they tried to watch the first season of Squid Games, and they watched the dub, and I would like catch pieces of it, and it would just bother me that the dialogue wasn't syncing up to the mouths. And then this goes even further. They decided they couldn't hear it, so they started using the subtitles, but kept watching the dub. So they were watching dubbed with subtitles.
That is we can have all these conversations. And it was funny because we had all these conversations before the show just to we just got into it. We were talking about it. And then you said that, and I feel like you just stopped the room. We're like, wait, what?
That's great.
Why? Corrine Hendrickson, who was our guest earlier this hour, actually chimed in on our chat that says, I agree on the dubbing. I can't stand it when it doesn't line. I can't. I have to close out, go back in to start it again because just that it will correct itself when you start again. But then again, this technology
just a little off.
I shouldn't have to deal with this. I paid a lot of money for this television. But yeah, dubbing is just impossible for me to concentrate with. I have to do subtitles. And I said to the two of you when I would go to my mother-in-law's house, she is a subtitle stan. She loves it. She does it all the time, period. That's always what's happening. And I was being like, why are we doing this? It's distracting. I don't like it. We can hear it. Turn it up. All the things that my brain was saying. And then one day I'm at home and I just turn it on. I go to myself, oh, wait, the subtitles aren't on. I got to turn the subtitle. I'm like, no! What did I do?
You got sucked into the subtitle vortex without even realizing it.
Yep.
Subtitles, closed captioning, or dubbed. Which do you prefer? Which do you detest? 855-752-4842. That's 855-755-CIVIC. Our audio sorbet conversation for today. Terry from the Northwoods is on the line, not for audio sorbet, Terry, but you wanted to say something about the Brewers?
I just hope they stand pat, no trades, keep that clubhouse together.
Yes, sir.
Don't tweak it. Don't tweak it.
Yeah.
Just let it be. That's all I got, guys.
Terry,
Want to have that.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah, well, and Terry, it's kind of a surprise. I mean, I don't think anybody had big expectations for the Brewers this year.
No.
Right? it was like, yeah, hopefully we'll not suck.
Hopefully be a 500 team. That's what Paul said. That's what JR said. That's what I said. I don't have as much knowledge of baseball as they do. Terry, thank you so much for calling and giving us your opinion on the matter. I totally agree. Keep it straight down the air, straight down the
Don't
path.
mess with
Don't
anything
mess with
right
it.
now.
You got great pitching. You got
Be
great
tweaking.
bats. And by the way, Terry, I just want to say, and I'm going to speak on behalf of Jane and Todd when I say this. We went to the Northwoods this past week. It is so lovely.
Yes.
Loved being in, I don't know where you're from exactly, but in your neck of the woods. It was just
It's gorgeous.
so beautiful.
Yep.
Thank you so much for calling, Terry.
Yeah,
We
really
appreciate
appreciate that, Terry. Terry Ryan, listening on the on WAUK, says subtitles all the way. Thank you, Terry. Appreciate that. I agree with you. Now I leave them on for everything.
I do too. And for things that are like, even like, I know some people who will turn subtitles on when they watch BBC shows, because I understand sometimes the accents
Can throw you a little bit.
throw you a little
Sure.
bit. But now it doesn't matter. I can be watching myself on video. I'll have subtitles on because I'm just like, you never know. I could miss something.
855-752-4842. Subtitles or dubbed? Do you have a preference? Do you use neither? Maybe your hearing's really, really good and much better than mine because I need subtitles now. 855-752-4842. And it gets to the point, because when we were talking about this off the air, when you first start using closed captioning, that's all you're watching.
Yes.
Right? Is you're reading the dialogue and you're reading things as it goes along, so you might not be watching the action itself. I think it gets easier as you do it more.
I think so too. I think you trust yourself to know that if there's no action happening, if it's just conversation, you're not missing much visually.
Right.
But I did mention this too, that Netflix has been reported as their scripts for their original programming, excuse me, they over-explain things in the scripts. Their characters will over-explain what's going on because they know their viewers
That's right.
are actually listeners. They're
not
looking at
watching.
their phone, they're looking at their tablet, they're looking at their device.
It's on in the background.
Yes, exactly. So they need to know what's going on. So it's all in the script. It's all in the back and forth. So that to me says a great deal about us. Us, not you, of us.
Us. Carmela from Milwaukee listening on WAUK. Definitely subtitles. Like Jana got tired of trying to hear what they were freaking saying, especially after rewinding numerous times, trying to figure out what I missed. I also find it hysterical when subtitles have misspellings or they use the wrong word.
Yes. Yeah.
Little moments of happy there.
We were watching a show called, and I can't remember the name of it right now. We watched it. Oh, Good Cop, Bad Cop. It's a CW show. It's kind of ridiculous, but it's fun. And the subtitles were so far behind. They were like think about time as a construct. They were a solid 45 to 60 seconds behind. We just had to turn them off because we're like,
oh my God, you must have been so confused.
Like 3 seasons. I will say this too, and you know this, and anyone who watches subtitles, I think the only problem with subtitles is the reveals come immediately. So
if it's a long, slow conversation, and they get to the spoiler.
Before anything's, I'm like, oh man, now I know who killed the guard. It was the other guard. Yes.
All right, when we return, this shouldn't be a thing. Today it is the Hey Kitty Kitty edition. Calvin found another good one. Stay close. You are listening to Matt and Air on Air on the vast, statewide, countrywide, go global with the app, baby, Civic Media Radio Network.
You're listening to Civic Media. Find the latest news, information, and archives of all your favorite shows on the Civic Media website, civicmedia.us.
Welcome back to Matt Nair on Air. Jane Matt Nair, Greg Bach, Dr. Slide on the board, coming to you from our studio at Radio Park in Racine, where you can join us. Call or text at 855-752-4842. Leave a comment if you're watching on the live stream on Facebook, YouTube, and what used to be Twitter. We will not be here tomorrow. Calvin will be here. Matt Rothschild, it is going to slip in to our show and cover it for us tomorrow with Calvin producing. We are going to Madison, Civic Media's headquarters, world headquarters, for our annual Beat the Hosts About the Face and Neck with Sticks. So we do this once a year. It's fine.
I was told there's going to be pie.
And after they beat us around the face and neck with sticks, it's fine. It's fine. So Matt will be here tomorrow. We will be back with you on Thursday, but we're going to do our show from Madison.
Correct.
So, but Calvin, you are still going to be producing for us on Thursday, aren't you?
I will be here.
All
Looking
right.
forward to it.
Double checking.
We'll make sure
everything's okay.
We'll make sure our show is completely in subtitles. That's a reference to the last segment. We talked about subtitles.
Like that very much. Okay, it is just about 10:54. That means it is time for...
This shouldn't be a thing.
If you ever have a thing you think should not be, send it into Greg and me at janesays@civicmedia.us, JANESAYS, Jane Says at civicmedia.us. Calvin, as always, found this one. This is from CBC Canada News. Courtney Dixon with the byline. Headline
good story,
reads, Yeah. Headline reads, BC couple dodging dozens of calls about their missing cat, but their cat isn't missing. Natasha Lavoie's phone number is featured on a shirt by a U.S. designer. For more than a year, Natasha Lavoie and her partner Jonathan have been fielding dozens upon dozens upon dozens of phone calls from strangers saying they have found their cat Torbo. They don't have a cat named Torbo. They do have a cat named Mauser.
Yeah.
He's not missing.
He's right there.
He's right there. They have photos of him.
Yep.
Sometimes, like 6 times a day, I'm getting these really random phone calls and people leaving me voicemails saying that they found my cat and they want money in order for me to turn over my cat. I'm like, my cat's at home in the air conditioning. I don't know what you're talking about. After months of this and trying to figure out why this was happening, she finally asked someone how they got her number. The caller explained the number was listed on a shirt that looks like a missing cat poster. So somebody's got a T-shirt with a kitten on it that says missing cat, and underneath is the phone number. She said, why would you use that phone number on that shirt?
I have a feeling it was a randomly picked, like you just
It was
picked,
a randomly generated number?
You just picked 10 number. I mean, I think in Canada, it's the same system as ours. It's going to be 10 numbers, and you just simply put it on. Yeah, and you think, well, it's a number. Who would?
Who's going to do that?
Jane, who in their right mind would call it?
Hundreds of people.
Exactly.
CBC News reached out to the company that made this shirt, Wisdom.
Yeah.
WISDUMB. Wisdom.
Gross.
New York.
I hate that.
Created this shirt and says they are no longer selling it online. Although on their Instagram page, they do have photos of missing cat posters with various area codes attached. The use of a real number within this artwork was not intentional, according to customer service at this Wisdom New York website. Okay.
I think it's very, I don't know, call me what you will. I think there's something very sweet about the fact that this woman who's being called many times a day, she doesn't change her number. She wouldn't do that.
She's hesitant to change her number.
Yeah.
She said, we've thought about it, but we have a 604 area code. That was British Columbia's first area code. It's like New York. And now you can't get it anymore.
That also feels very Midwest. I don't want to get rid of my 414.
I'm not changing it.
My number 260. I'm not getting rid of that. That's where I grew up.
I've had my number for 20 years. She says, I don't want to change it. I'll just keep not answering. And their cat is fine. So if you do see a T-shirt with a missing cat on it. It's got a number. Don't call it. Don't call it.
I just love this. I love the idea that people may. Well, I don't like the idea that people are like, if you want your cat, I want money. I have to imagine some people called and said, "Hey, I think I saw your cat. I think I found your cat."
Half the time they just cut you off and go like, "No, I've got your cat. I want money for the cat."
Okay, never mind.
And then they hang up.
Oh man.
She does say, and I think this is the final word, I feel like I deserve a free T-shirt after this.
Wisdom, are you listening? I feel like you should get a T-shirt with the CEO's face on it and his phone number saying missing CEO, missing intelligence.
Missing intelligence.
There it goes.
I like it. That wraps up today's episode of
This shouldn't be a thing.
Thank you, Greg and Calvin, and all of our engineers and all of our guests. Without you, nothing works. And thank you most of all for calling and for texting and for listening. It really does mean the world. I hope you find some joy today, even if it's just a little bit, and you have the chance to share it. We got news coming up next, followed by Tom Hartman, 11 to 2, Todd Alba, 2 to 4, Maggie Dawn, 4 to 6, Pete Schwaba, 6 to 8 p.m. with Nightlight, and some great evening entertainment as well.
Yep.
Keep it right here on the Civic Media Radio Network, and we'll see you on Thursday.
The national news cycle never stops, but it can be hard to find news about your local community. Civic Media is dedicated to providing quality local and state news coverage across Wisconsin. With the Civic Media app, you can get notifications about local stories that matter to you and your community. Find the free Civic Media app in your phone's app store and choose notifications from the menu to tell us what kind of news you want to hear about.